Hi, I'm Meghana, and I'm your local amnesiac earthmate.
Okay, and I'm Claire, and I found a briochien. Yeah.
And this is
Make
Make That
that game!
Game
Where we pitch the latest
Greatest
new video game ideas.
that will likely never be made.
Likely not. Yeah. Someday, maybe.
Hopefully, fingers crossed. Some of these are some real winners.
We really hope. We really hope. But yeah, so everyone probably noticed Isaac is not here. It's a new
What are you
voice.
talking
Or
about?
is
I'm
it?
Isaac. I've been here all the time.
Yeah, this is actually Isaac. This is exactly how Isaac sounds and looks, and always has. No, this is listener Meghana, now guest host Meghana, who has been guest host before in one of our other episodes, which I'll link somewhere. You can find it.
A frequent writer into the show. I've written a couple emails, written many posts. I text Claire very often about some ideas that I have.
Exactly.
And number one fan of Make That Game.
Definitely. And we're so happy to have you back. It's going to be a good one. Isaac is off playing Warhammer, so that is why he cannot record this week. And we forgot to plan ahead. So there's two reasons we can't record this week, is we forgot and then he's gone. I did want to explain, because I love it, just a quick Pokemon sidebar. So briochien. So I am playing Pokemon in French, which was a mistake. And there's the new dog that is bred.
Yes, Fido is its name in English.
Well, so Fido is the baby version, and the evolution is briochien, which I think is the English one is dash bund.
Yeah.
Bund, which it looks like a pun, but it doesn't sound like a pun because of the way dash hound is pronounced. So I think briochien is better, and I just wanted to say that.
I also agree. I think they should have just named it briochien all over the board.
I think
Spanish,
so. Well,
English.
And Fido also is better than, so in French it's pistachio. It's not spelled like pistachio, but it's pistachio. And I was like,
interesting.
Fido is better. So it should be Fido and briochien across all languages. Yeah. Take note.
Yeah, Pokemon Learn.
Games.
Game Freak.
Game Freak. It's like game place that makes games. Okay, anyway.
The game studio, yes.
Speaking of the game studio, Meghana, do you have a game idea for us today?
I do have a game pitch. It's very complicated. It is kind of working title called Garden Ians, or Garden, spelled Guarden. So basically, it's like a combination puzzle, strategy, tycoon, platformer game. I know it's a lot all in one, but you're basically playing these different levels in two separate phases. So the first phase, you're like a human, and you kind of go and you're given this plot of land that you have to select certain plants to populate this area as your garden. And then the second phase, you play as little microorganisms, little insects, kind of almost like a platformer, where you defend the garden against intruders and different environmental hazards. So yeah.
Oh, okay. Wow. You said it was complicated. I'm like, wow, okay, I'm sitting in ready, but it's you pretty explained it pretty quick.
Yeah.
I mean, Guardians, I like that a lot. We love a pun. So do you say Gardenians?
So garden spelt like garden, and then dash Ians, you're trying to combine the two words.
Exactly. Good.
It's in working title, but basically how I'm envisioning the game being played is kind of you're almost like a tycoon simulator where you're given a certain amount of money, you're given a certain space, and you have to use this money efficiently to buy different crops in different stages of life. So you can get little seeds, or you can get seedlings, or you can get full-grown plants. They all cost different amounts. And then You can also buy nutrients for the soil too, but you do have like a money cap. So there's like, you're not able to exceed that.
Like a budget.
And then after you kind of plant the garden, then there are certain like organisms that are like kind of focused on these different levels. Like each level is based on like a different environment or a different ecological sort of area. So like one place, you might have, fungi, and then the other place you might have like grasshoppers or like little other, insects. And so like the second phase, it's kind of more cartoony. I imagine the first phase to be more like realistic. Like these are all these beautiful plants. And then like there's a lot of information about the plants and like what they are, their genus, their species, what they produce. And then in the second phase, it's more like cartoony as you're playing as these sort of like amorphous cellular blobs, just sort of like moving like either down into the soil to help like the roots or like up on the leaves to like fight off different insects. And of course, there's going to be like a lot of information about what these creatures do and how they're important. So I think it's like a really cool concept. It's a lot all at once.
Yeah, it is a lot. Yeah. So I guess how did like the phases shift as you see in gameplay, and then do they ever shift back? Because it's like you plant your garden, right? You plan out all your stuff, everything that's growing there, and then now you're suddenly like the Gardenians who have to protect it. Like how is there like do we harvest? Is there an end to the game? Is this a forever play game?
So like I said, I imagine them as like a bunch of different levels. So like I imagine each level you kind of play like 2 of each phase. So like you plant, then you're the guardians. You plant again or you harvest and then you're the guardians again. And then at the end of the game or at the end of the level, it kind of like tallies up your points.
Yep.
Like how well were you to defend the garden? How well were you to like best take advantage of the land that you were given? And then like you get certain like collectibles based on like whether or not you meet the like base requirements or if you can reach like a special like higher requirement. So yeah, I imagine it like multiple different levels kind of in that sort of series of events.
No, this makes sense. I was imagining like the beginning is all planting and then the second half is all.
Oh.
But no, this makes more sense that like you plant, you protect, and then like you move on to like a more difficult plant protect. Like that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah,
then, no, it's definitely a lot, but.
Yeah, it's a lot of concepts because I also was like, well, maybe when you're in like the guardian phase, you can like run around and like have these little like nitrogen fixing mini games or like a little quick like insect battle mini game.
Love a
but
mini
again,
game, okay?
It's games within games within games, so it might be too much.
I mean, to be fair, I feel like that's kind of the game that I tend to pitch sometimes because I'm like, I don't know. Like, I don't want it to be just one thing, maybe. Is that too much to ask?
I know. It's nice to just kind of like dip your toes in everything, but I guess that kind of makes it a little bit difficult to like really like fine tune the gameplay in one area or another. So another thing I was thinking with this game is that you can have like options where you can kind of shift the kind of phases. So like if you really like the planting phase, you can be like, okay, so I want to just do primarily that. So you can shift everything to be like 3/4 planting phase and 1/4 guardian phase. So I think that would be a nice sort of like change of pace to like reapproach these levels with like different options in that regard too.
Yeah, that's cool. I like that. Nice. Awesome.
Yeah, that's my little game. Garden or Gardenians or Guardians. I don't know.
I like Gardenians. Guardians, but it's Gardenians. Yes.
Garden.
Imagine it, listener, if you will, spelled out. And it's good.
It's there, yes. Well, that was my pitch. Claire, do you have a pitch for us today?
I do, and it's much more simple, as my pitches sometimes are. But basically, I wanted to do something snow-themed because it's the holiday season, and I was playing the snow area in Pokemon last night, so I was thinking about snow, and I came up with, it's called VR Sled Racer.
VR sled racer?
Yes, it's called VR Sled Racer, and it's designed to be dangerous. So, yeah, I love pitching a VR game. VR is pretty much the first way I enjoyed video games, which is super weird, but it's the truth. And except what I don't like in VR is what I'm pitching. So I'm actually pitching a game that would probably be hard for me to play, but it's when it fakes motion because it's very good at it. And you feel like you're actually going on roller coasters or you're actually going up elevators. I played a game that was basically an elevator, and it was fun because elevators don't move very fast, but it was also really trippy because it really feels like you're moving up and down.
Interesting. Kind
of like that phenomenon where you're not moving, but if a train is going by your car, parallel, and it feels like your car. Well, yeah, I guess. But and it happens as a passenger. Yeah. I don't know. When you're sitting still and something outside is moving and then you feel like you're moving a little bit, VR plays on that. It can really feel real. But anyway, so the idea is you're in a sled and you're going to use body motion, kind of like you would on a Wiimote, to drive the sled. So you're leaning back and forth to slow it down, speed it up. You're tilting your body to turn, and there'll be various different runs that you do with different obstacles. So there's easier ones where it might just be straight down a hill, but then there's going to be ones where there's trees and jumps and flags and things like that. I definitely want there to be a multiplayer aspect of it, so you can race your friends, or you can also just race the computer, because like I said, I want all my games to be only child friendly. I have to be able to play by myself as well as with other people, although this I guess you could play online, so you could still be an only child and play it. But yeah, so that's kind of that part. But the hitch, the twist of the game is that you have to build your own sled first.
Oh, I love this. I love this so much.
So, yeah. So first stage, I guess this is 2 stages just like yours. First stage is building. And I picture it kind of I don't know, Boy Scouts do building boats and stuff, and they have to sail the boat, or they build a little mousetrap car and they have to see how far it can go, that kind of thing. So you'll have some supplies. You'll have to use the VR technology to pull that, move them weird ways and hammer them in. And I want these sleds to look ridiculous. Obviously you can paint them if you want. There's going to be accessories, but guess what? The accessories have weight, so that's a problem. So not only are you going down a hill, but whatever you built as your sled is going to impact the way that you go down the hill, and if you even make it to the bottom. Okay. There's definitely a scenario in which you're in the sled and it just falls apart and you're just sitting in the snow.
Oh,
you have to start over.
I would feel so sad after spending so long building my sled and just having it.
Well, I mean, that's actually a good point. Maybe there can be before we start, there's a sled show off, and you can be look at my beautiful sled.
And it's they rotate 360 degrees.
In a car showroom, and then yeah, and then you race them. So it's a pretty simple, quick game. You could play though, I think, pretty much infinite times, almost like a Mario Kart racer in a sense, where because you're going to build your sled every time, so it's going to be different every time, and you could play with different people every time. So the courses might not change all that much, but the play can. And there is a game, and I cannot, if someone remembers, listeners, please put it somewhere in the comments or email us. I was looking up. It's not Tilt Brush. Okay, I already explained this once in an episode long ago, but I played VR pretty much between 2016 and 2018. So it's been a hot minute. So I only know very early games, very janky, one could say, games as well. But there's Tilt Brush, which is Google's thing, where you can draw in air. And you could kind of build structures that way. But there was another game that was more in depth, that was really about building structures. Almost what's it, like a erector set, but VR. Anyway, if anyone knows what I'm talking about, I tried to Google it before the episode, and literally Google had no idea what I was talking about. It was showing me house builder VR, city builder VR, and I'm like, wow, VR's way fancier than when I remember.
All these current VR games, they've made leaps and bounds in the VR world. It kind of gives me almost Lego racer vibes, just in the fact that you're building the sled and it impacts the way it moves.
I've never played Lego Racer. I don't know. So.
It was on the Nintendo 64. I have very fond memories of it. I don't know how well it holds up nowadays, but
I will say I played Lego Harry Potter and I liked it. I thought it was a really fun game. So Lego games I think are good, but the Nintendo 64 games that I see like videos of and speedruns of, it does not look like a vibe I like, generally speaking.
The graphics don't really hold up nowadays. It's like back then it was like the most amazing, most crisp thing that you could imagine.
Right.
And now when you look back on it, it's like, ooh.
Well, and what's funny is like the oldest Nintendo games still hold up. Like I could play Super Mario Brothers like the original, and it doesn't feel old. I mean, it feels old in the sense that like it doesn't look like Mario does now, but it's like the graphics are fine, like they're pixels, they're fine. And then you play like Mario 64, and you're like, what is it?
It's like, why did they choose to make everything this way?
Yeah, Isaac got a pack that lets him play it on, I think, the Switch.
Oh, okay.
And I was watching him play it, and I was like, I can't play this game.
We are spoiled by the way that graphics have been
so spoiled.
Changing and just getting better and better.
I know. It's tough, especially since I came into games so late in life. So like I came into like good graphics.
The good graphics. You know? It's hard to go back to the other graphics.
Is. I guess Sims original was pretty rough. But they wouldn't let you zoom in very far, so that was, a good choice on their part.
It's like, oh, it's all just kind of blurry from this vantage point. We'll just keep it this way.
Kind of looks, like little tiny people moving around. That's fine. I don't know anything else. But all right, well, since those are our games, it's time somebody needs to ask a question, and I have a feeling that Meghana might be asking a question today.
I have a question. Yes.
Okay,
this
let's
is
see.
The segment. Meghana asks a question. First time.
Brand new segment.
We gotta, get some little like poppers or something. Just be like, woo, exciting and new. Except it's not. It's the same thing. It's just a question. So my question is actually about music in video games.
Ooh.
So as like a longtime player of specifically Nintendo franchises, like, there are definitely like songs that are very important to me. And it's like, I'm starting to notice this trend. Like, I don't know, the music just doesn't seem to be as memorable now. It's maybe just because of nostalgia. I don't know. So I'm just kind of fielding this question to Claire and also to all the listeners out there.
Always.
What are your thoughts on kind of the evolution of music in video games?
Okay.
Because I'm primarily thinking of like Legend of Zelda. So they have some very like, because a lot of the previous series, they actually involved musical instruments that you were supposed to play and sort of like interact with the world around you. And then the most recent iteration, Breath of the Wild, we're still waiting on Tears of the Kingdom to come out next year, which I'm very excited for. But it's just not, the music isn't as important, it feels. I mean, there are definitely like towns and hubs that have these songs with these themes from previous games. But like when you're out in the world, like there's not the like Lost Woods theme. There's not like, it just feels a little bit more barren music wise.
Okay. Interesting.
So Claire, being a newer sort of entrance into the world of video games and video game music, has any particular songs or any games sort of like soundtracks really jumped out to you or?
So this is an interesting question for me, and I think a really great one to bring up just in general game design is how music impacts your game experience and gameplay, and also just the memorability of a game, right? Like, and how it makes you feel emotionally, which I think we don't talk about a lot as far as game design, but emotions are a big part of it, like, because you need your players to be connected to your game. So the first thing I think of immediately when you said music was The Sims, because I read that is my game, okay? I'm all about it.
It's the game that introduced you into the video game world.
It really is. Well, that and Gorillas, but Frogger was an early game as well that I loved. But Gorillas didn't have any music, so that's not a great one. I don't remember if the like super old Frogger did. So if it did, it wasn't memorable enough. But The Sims, I actually read a really fascinating article, and I'll try to find it. I read it like a couple years ago, so I don't know exactly where it was, but on kind of the challenge of composing music for it, because they're basically like, you're composing music for people to play Dollhouse too. Like it needs to be enough music that it's like they like it, but it's not the same kind of vibe as, playing like a Mario game or a Zelda game, because you're not fighting things, you're not, it's just got to be kind of vibey. And they have this incredible like jazz, easy listening score that it's just perfect. And like, I mean, the songs are stuck in my head, like I could recall them. I actually discovered that I made a playlist of all of the early Sims albums on Spotify, because if I play them while I work, I like work better, because I grew up playing, like basically building rooms and like doing all this stuff to all this music.
It just gets you in that mindset.
Yeah. And so, and I remember when Sims 2 came out, I was like a little taken aback almost, because obviously they changed some of the music. And I was like, oh, the build mode sounds so different. And I got a little like weirded out. And then, but I eventually got very used to Sims 2 music. So that's the Sims I played the most. But if you went to a certain type of store, they would play the old Sims 1 music in it. And I remember just being like, that's my jam. Like, I felt so good, like going to there, just be like, I remember the good old days.
Just like stay in that store for like hours on end, just reliving the good old days.
It was the best. And so it's like they had those nuggets there. It was a very similar score, but it's a little bit different. One thing I really don't like about Sims 4, I was actually playing it last week. I wanted to get back into it, mostly because I was trying to do some house designing fun stuff. And this is a very minor thing, but so build mode and design mode used to be two different things, where like you're building a house that's like walls, windows, floors, etc. And then design is like couches, rugs, etc. Like
furniture,
all that stuff. They had different music. So it's like once you click on the other mode, it would like fade into a different musical loop. This Sims 4 isn't doing that, and it's freaking me out. I don't like it. I like the mental cue of like, this is build, this is design. I don't know. And I couldn't tell you about Sims 3. I played it so quickly. I don't know. No one likes Sims 3. That's all I know. But anyway, so that's a long way to say that like, clearly like music had a huge impact on the way I play The Sims, and even to cue you on like what part of playing The Sims you're doing, right?
Okay.
Like loading, designing, shopping, building. The Sims itself didn't have music while you played, but you could like create, the Sims could play music from their radios. You could upload your own music too. I figured out how to do that. So I could upload like actual music for The Sims to listen to. Anyway, so that was hugely important. I think I will say I found regular. I don't know, like I always go back to like Mario Brothers, probably like Kirby would have been in my mind back in the day, or I don't know, Zelda music's good, I will say, but like that kind of the other stuff, a little bit grating and annoying because it's so repetitive.
Yeah.
And I feel that with the current Pokemon game too. I'm like, especially when I'm not the one actively playing. So if Isaac's playing in the other room, I'm like, I can't listen to this. This is so annoying. But that's never happened to me while playing a Zelda game. I played Link's Awakening. I thought was great musically. I liked the different, like each area has its own different like vibe.
Yeah,
which happens in Pokemon too, but I think it's just, it's like, I don't know. It's not as nuanced.
Yeah, it just doesn't feel as like, I don't know, immersive.
Yeah.
But it's like when you're composing songs for video games, you have to like be able to like have these songs on loop for long periods of time. And it's like, sometimes they just work and it's like, I could never get bored of this song. And sometimes it's just like, okay, can we like do something else now? Like, I don't really want to hear this song anymore.
Yeah, like I truly think that the Link's Awakening score is awesome and like did not make me sick of it when I played. I need to replay that game. I say that like every episode, but I'm like, I need to replay that game. I also want to get back to Kirby. Man, like days are not long enough. They're not. I need to play more video games. I don't understand. Like, it's not fair.
There just needs to be a day of the week that's, reserved for video games.
Yeah, We don't
It's
do
video
anything else
game
but
day.
play video games. It's
I'm
important.
going to call into work and be like, I'm sorry, I can't come in. It's video game day.
And they'll be like, obviously.
We understand.
That
Yeah,
makes
we got you.
Yeah, there's just not enough time in the day. But I think music does impact gaming a ton, and I think it is sometimes holds me back from like wanting to play. I actually used to play Wii Fit, and I would mute it, and I would play my own music. And honestly, I tried to find any game that I could do that with when I was younger because I was like, it's so annoying.
Yeah,
But I didn't do that with The Sims.
Yeah, The Sims was important to you. That music meant so much.
It did.
Design, build. Don't do the same song for both.
No. And I mean, your point too of like, it's almost a cinematic score they have to create.
Yeah.
But that can loop. It's a challenge.
It's a challenge for sure. I don't know. I've been listening to some of the songs from Splatoon. I've never actually played Splatoon, but the thing about Splatoon is that it's all about, well, not all about, but a large part of the story kind of focuses on these musical idols. And like they have their own musical performances that are like pulled from different areas. So it's like that, I don't know. It just makes the music more impactful in Splatoon, whereas in Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, it's all just kind of background score now, rather than you having that ocarina that you take around and you're playing and you're interacting. So I think it's nice to sort of bring more light to those musical elements, to be like, oh yeah, this is a song. Let me, sit here and listen to it for a little bit and see how it makes me feel. So
yeah, paying attention to it, and also for game designers, like keep like remembering that it shouldn't just be a background to your game. It should be some kind of element that's either cueing the player on something or that's like integrated into the game. I will say, here's one thing that does slap in the new Pokemon: when someone terrestalizes a Pokemon and the music just gets like hype. I do like that. I'm like, all right. Okay.
Yeah, I can vibe to this. Yeah. It's like, let's terrestrialize all the time. No, you can't. Only once per rest at a Pokemon Center. There are problems with the game, but there are also good things with the game. We're not talking about Pokemon.
No, we're not. I was going to ask. I'll ask off camera. But yeah,
we've talked enough.
Please let us know like how music impacts your gameplay. Maybe your favorite. What's your favorite game song or score? We'd love to hear it. And,
what trends you've noticed with songs, like in certain franchises that they've been developing over time.
All right. So yeah, leave us in the comments video game songs you like, video game scores you like, what trends you've been seeing in game music lately, especially in franchises. That'd be really awesome for us to know.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, that means it's time for my favorite segment, the rapid fire round.
I do that every time when I hear the rapid fire round, just listening to the podcast.
We really need to get a soundboard for
that.
a
soundboard would be a good investment.
It would be. Maybe someday when we have a Patreon and stuff, we'll use the money to buy things like that. All right. So the rapid fire round, I'm going to generate 3 random words. We're going to have 5 minutes to come up with a game idea based on those 3 words. We can stretch the definitions, and we probably will, but we have to use every single word. Meghana, are you ready to be our timekeeper today?
I'm ready. I got my timer. Let's go.
All righty. I will just tell me when to read them, and I'll let you know.
And go.
Pin, like P-I-N, like a pin you'd wear.
Okay.
Administration. And fur.
F-U-R?
Yep.
Pin, administration, fur.
Fur. Yes, correct. Yes.
Interesting. Okay. I am thinking you're like a camp counselor, you're camp administrator, like in this camp in the woods.
Yep.
And so like you're this little like scout person who's got to collect these pins to be like, these are all the things I've done, or these are all the things that I've experienced in the woods in my camp time. So you have to, but maybe instead of people, you're all Animals.
That's correct. And
you
it's kind of like Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts getting badges, but
Beast Scouts.
Beast Scouts, and they're badgers.
Badgers?
No, that's nothing. I was like badgers, animals, fur. I don't know what I'm talking about.
I mean, yeah, maybe badged badgers.
No, is it Beast Scouts is the name of the game, obviously.
Okay. Beast Scouts. So you are in the woods in your little campsite, and you know how like when you're a human, you're like get like certain badges for like observing animals in the wild. Maybe
yes,
like
all
like,
humans, you get a badge.
You get badges like, oh, there's a squirrel out there. I get my badge, my squirrel seeing badge. But like, what if it's like reversed and you're like these animals in this camp and you're trying to like observe the different human civilizations.
Amazing.
So you kind of like it's almost like a sneaking game where you have to like sneak and like be quiet and make sure that the humans don't like see you. And then you like get your little notepad out and you write stuff down and you take it back to your camp administrator and they like are like, okay, you get this badge and this badge and this pin and this pin. And you just got to collect all the pins for seeing all the different things. Yeah.
I like it. I think maybe instead of just having it be observational, there should be some like quests too. Like you have to like pickpocket or like get a picture of like Pokemon Snap style. Like a human.
Secretly take out your camera. Okay, I got it.
Eating a snack. Wow.
Okay. Maybe there are like different stages. Maybe it starts off by just writing it down and then you get a camera and then you can take pictures and then you get like some other supplies which help you like integrate into like human society a little bit more.
Yeah.
So that you can like get closer to them and like get their things and be like, yes, sir, I will have one pizza slice. And it's like this bear in like a hat and like glasses and a mustache.
Yeah, I mean, we love a stage of a game, as we've learned this episode. We love stages of games. Yeah, okay, I think we did it. I think, nope, I forgot. Beast Scouts. Beast
Scouts. 2 minutes to go.
Woohoo! Nice job, us. All right, are you ready for our next 3 words?
All righty, go.
Okay. Fix. Oh, that's great for a game. Food advertising. Fix food advertising.
Fix food advertising.
This is okay. I'm like, is this a graphic design game?
I think so.
How is it a graphic design? How do we do this? Do you have to?
So maybe it's like you're trying to fix food advertising. Maybe you're trying to make the food look appealing to appeal on like a, you know, either like a billboard or like a commercial. So like you have to fix the food. So like this is what it looks like when you get it from the restaurant.
Oh, or wait, yeah, what if it's like like you go to like a restaurant and then you have to like basically style the food to take a picture of it for the advertisement.
So you have to like adjust the lighting, you have to like get the plating all ready, you have to find the exact location that you want to take this picture, and then like how are we gonna like score people on like if they did it good? Does the game do that? Yeah, I think it's just like a Pokemon Snap sort of situation where it's like the professor comes up and he's like, these are the things you did good. Like the food looks big. You get 2 stars
and it's like, what does that mean?
Yeah. But maybe like it's more like based on like, go ahead.
Okay. The amount of like you said, space it takes up in the frame, maybe what like area of the frame it's in. I think color for food, like just in general in real life, is tough like to get on camera. So like the wave, like the lighting is going to be really important, and like how like true the colors show up. Another fun element we could add is like what real food stylists do often is use non-food items to make food look more appealing and last longer. So like maybe one of the, it's like if you're filming ice cream, like if you use the real ice cream, it's going to melt over time as you like try to take it. Yeah, exactly. So so using things like mashed potatoes or like shaving cream or like that could be like in your arsenal too. And so you might get scored on like creativity or something like that.
Yeah, and then maybe there's also like you have to figure out where to like put these pictures to get the most traffic to this restaurant. So yeah, I think, that seems like it's done. We just got to come up with
a name. We need a name. Because fixed food advertising isn't a name. That's just a game.
I think it's a good name. No, we got to come up with something more creative.
I was like, Mad Men? Is there a food pun in that? I don't think so.
Mad Meals.
Mad Meals. That sounds like the meals are gonna attack me.
Yeah, that sounds more like a. And
then they could do ad meals, but then it's like
ad meals.
That's a pun for a game we didn't make.
I think I like it though. Ad meals.
Ad meals. All right, ad meals.
Ad meals with 1 minute 54 seconds to go.
Are we ready for our final 3 words of the episode?
Let's go.
Oh, interesting. Okay, this is tough. Acquit. Like acquittal, say not guilty, I guess. Bin, like a trash bin. And rugby. Not an easy. Yeah. Okay, we can do it. Let's make it quick. Acquit, bin, rugby. Okay, so there's a rugby game. Okay, it's a story game. It's a mystery story game about a rugby team. They were playing rugby. They're playing rugby. Their ball goes in a trash can, thus the bin, and in the can they find like a crime. Like, I don't know, a skull. I don't know.
So they're playing rugby. They find a crime in a bin.
They find a crime. Like, I was like, maybe a skull or like a note.
Okay,
those are two very different things. But yeah, and then you just like, it's like a click and discover adventure game.
Okay, cool. What's it called?
It is called
Rug Bin.
Rug Mr. B.
Rug Mr. B?
What about called...
What's in the rug bin?
What's in the rug bin?
I don't know.
A mystery game. We are laughing because I don't know if I became an editing genius and you somehow didn't notice that there was 100 different technical difficulties, then all like props to future me. But in case that's not the case, we had like 5 technical difficulties in a row. So I hope.
Yeah, it's gonna be fine. Claire's
it's gonna be okay.
Editing genius. She's got this.
Hopefully, future me has this in the bag. But anyway, we're sorry about that. But thank you so much for joining us in this glitchy but yet very fun adventure. And thank you so much.
Pokemon. Just like Pokemon, glitchy but fun adventure.
Did it on purpose to be just like Pokemon. Thank you so much for joining us as a guest host, Meghana. It was awesome to have you as always.
Of course, apologies for my glitching errors, and I hope you can make something out of this dumpster fire.
Both of us had some kind of issue. And yeah, so if you want to find our podcast, you can find us on social media, on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, and TikTok at Make That Game Pod. You can find us on YouTube, youtube.com/@MakeThatGame. You can send us an email, makethatgamepodcast@gmail.com. We love to hear from you. We love to get it. Please leave us a review on iTunes. Subscribe to our YouTube. Really helps us out, even if you don't want to watch us on YouTube. It's great. And, if you heard a game today that you think should exist in this world, we encourage you to get out there and make that